Exodus 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand he will let them go. Because of my mighty hand he will drive them out of his country. God also said to Moses, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself fully known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, where they resided as foreigners. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. And I will bring you to the land I swore with uplifted hand to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord. Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and harsh labor. Then the Lord said to Moses, Go tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites go out of his country. But Moses said to the Lord, If the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips? Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron about the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he commanded them to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. These were the heads of the families. The sons of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, were Hanok and Palu, Hezron and Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simeon. These were the names of the sons of Levi, according to their records: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon by clans were Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The sons of Merari were Mahil and Mushi. These were the clans of Levi according to their records. Amram married his father's sister Jochebed, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. The sons of Uzziel were Mishael, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elisheba, daughter of Aminadab and sister of Nashon, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah were Asir, Elkanah, and Abiasaph. These were the Korahite clans. Eleazar, son of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Putiel, and she bore him Phinehas. These were the heads of the Levite families, clan by clan. It was this Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, Bring the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions. They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. This same Moses and Aaron. Now when the Lord spoke to Moses in Egypt, he said to him, I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, everything I tell you. But Moses said to the Lord, Since I speak with faltering lips, why would Pharaoh listen to me?
Words first, English words. Verse 8 is an expression you may not know. The word may be familiar, but the phrase is not familiar. Verse 8, and I will bring you to the land I swore with uplifted hand. To swear is to swear an oath to God. God, I promise I swear this, you go to court and you put your hand on the Bible, and I swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Right? Or you go to the dentist and you say to the dentist, please swear I will pull out the tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth. Yeah, because he may pull out something else, right? Yeah. So swear. It's a joke.
She's like, oh my gosh, really?
No, it's a don't realize the half of the roots inside. Half roots inside. Next year it comes out.
So uplifted hand. You notice? We put one hand on the Bible, the other hand is uplifted. I swear, I'm very serious. I swear with uplifted hand.
I thought it's like this. No?
Well, maybe in the Jewish world it will be like that, yeah? I swear with uplifted hands, they pray like that. But here the expression is familiar to you. If you know the English legal system, you swear with uplifted hand. You are very serious, you keep it. Okay, so an expression that says, I will not break my promise.
What about outstretched arm?
Outstretched arm. Verse 6. To stretch your arm out, this outstretched arm. And to do something with outstretched arm in the culture of that time, the arm, the hand, the whole arm represents power. The king's arm, when the king, yeah, he can do a lot of powerful commands with his hands. So with my outstretched arm, I can order troops, I can order generals, and God can, with his outstretched arm, create miracles. But of course, God doesn't have an arm, right? God is spirit. It's just a symbolic, metaphorical language.
Yoke?
Yoke, verse 6, 7? 6 or so, yeah. From under the yoke of the Egyptians. The yoke is a wooden piece that you put on the necks of two bulls, cows sometimes. You put it on the neck so that they'll pull the plow behind them together. Okay, so that's the yoke. And the yoke keeps them walking together, not one faster and one slower, right? So the yoke of slavery is a burden. The yoke is a burden to the cows, right? They are pulling a plow and very heavy. And Jesus says, come to me all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. This idea again of the yoke. My yoke is easy. Jesus says, my yoke that you put on your neck to be obedient to me, that is an easy yoke, not a yoke of slavery. But the yoke of slavery is heavy, right? What does it mean? It goes back to chapter 3, verse 14. Moses says, what's your name? God says, my name is I am. The translation in English is, I am who I am. It can also be translated, I will be who I will be. So God is ever present, eternal present tense. In the past, in the present, in the future. Here's the present tense. Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. Jesus claimed to be the I am also. God the I am. Yahweh. God the I am. So I am Yahweh. I am who I am. I will be who I will be. I do not change. I work at my own timing. Yes.
Do you think that Moses in his anger might have prompted God to move? Because we have him angry, and Moses is God's man, but now it changes, and God starts to move. But at this point, God has decided he won't do anything. Do you think Moses might have had something to do with God moving?
I think before even Moses complained, in chapter 3, we already looked at how God says, I have heard the groanings. In chapter 2, I have heard the groanings. So God had already heard the groanings. I remember my covenant. In Hebrew, the word remember is not like in English. I remember, oh, I forgot, oops, sorry. And I just remembered. But it is, I remember and I will act. And what did God remember? As I explained earlier on, he remembered what he said in Genesis chapter 17 to Abraham. And in chapter 15 also, verse 13. Then the Lord said to him, to Abraham, know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated 400 years. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterward they will come out with great possessions. And then verse 16, in the fourth generation your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. And so, as you read Moses in Exodus, actually later on you will be looking at the genealogy, the list, the sons of this and the sons of that, 4 generations. It's exactly as God said to Abraham long before it happened. It will take 4 generations, 400 years, and when Moses left, we are told it was 430 years to the day. So what I'm saying is that God already had it in his plan. To Moses and to the people of Israel, it's like, he forgot. No, he didn't forget. It's exactly according to his schedule, his plan. I said 400 years, it will be 400 years. And now the 400 years has started running. The 400th year has started running. So it's not that Moses changed his mind, but Moses might think he changed God's mind. Yeah, possible. It's like sometimes we think we change God's mind by a prayer, but perhaps God did want us to pray, but the prayer is really a declaration, God, I'm depending on you to move. I cannot move anything. I cannot move Pharaoh's heart. So Moses comes back to God. He returns to God. He says, God, what happened? His complaint is really a prayer also. God, it didn't work. You said it would work. It didn't work. So now what? And God says, now watch. I'm moving. So I don't think it changed God's mind. It was really all along. It's like this movie maker. He says, you were waiting for this moment, right? Yeah, now watch. So here is the second reason. God says to Moses, I am who I am. I will not change. I will get my timing right, and it is my timing now. Just watch. Verse 3. What's his answer there? I am eternally present, like he said earlier on, because I have appeared in the past to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, your ancestors. I am just keeping going my plan, which I revealed so long ago, 400 years ago, to your ancestors. And now it is beginning to happen. Be patient. Be patient. And he's also saying here, I'm not a stranger to your fathers, your ancestors. I'm not a stranger to you too. I cared for your ancestors. I will care for you. I protected them. I will protect you. But it says here, there's a difficult verse here. It says here, in the English translation, I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but by my name, the Lord, by my name, Yahweh, I did not make myself known to them. Now the Hebrew here, the NIV has a margin that there's a marginal note that tells you it could well be, and did I not make myself known to them as Yahweh? Did I not make myself known to them? It's a rhetorical question. So it's not like saying that I did not reveal my name Yahweh to them, because he did. Abraham calls after he was supposed to sacrifice Isaac. And then as he lifted his hand, the angel stopped him, and he turned around, and there was a ram in the thicket, in the bush. And he says, God provides. He says, Jehovah Jireh, or Yahweh Yireh. God provides. Yahweh. He knew that was Yahweh. So he knew the name of Yahweh. But you see, when we talk about know in modern language, in modern terms, especially when science is concerned, right? Know is objective. Knowledge is subjective. 1 + 1 = 2. Everything is clear and objective. And so it's all intellectual too. Logic, rationality, and so on. It's all mental. But the Hebrew word yada, which is translated know, is not just intellectual knowing and knowing about. Before I met Hisu, I keep using you as example. Before I met Hisu, I saw the name Hisu on the list. I said on the email. Yeah, okay, I know about Hisu. I do not know Hisu yet. Right? I just know the name. Yeah. Then I meet him and say, okay, now I know Hisu in that I identify Hisu, but I still do not know Hisu because the next day he eats. He says, I don't like kimchi. Huh? You don't like kimchi in Korean? I do not know him yet. See? So there's a deeper knowing than just knowing about him, knowing, oh, you are Hisu, but knowing his habits, his likes, his dislikes. Jiyoung would not say the same thing. Jiyoung knows, his wife knows, right? But I don't know him. So a knowledge that goes beyond the mental and intellectual to the emotional and the feeling, the experience. So science is not the only way of knowing. Sometimes experiential knowing, yeah, it's subjective. I know my wife better than any of you. Sure? You agree? But yet, you know,
She says maybe.
yet it's not something that I can prove in a laboratory. I mean, I go down to Ohio and go to Gianni's lab and I'm not going to be able to prove that. So some things are not scientific, but anyway, so there is a knowing that goes beyond just the intellectual logic and rationality. So they knew my name Yahweh. I know his name Hisu, but I did not really know him. And they did not really know God that well. And God says, now I will reveal myself to you even more fully. To them, I was El Shaddai. God Almighty is El Shaddai. They knew me as El Shaddai. Yeah,
that song.
El Shaddai. El Shaddai means God Almighty. God the all-powerful one. So they knew God the all-powerful one. He could protect them. He could, provide a ram when they needed a sacrifice and so on. But now they're going to see God who keeps his covenant. God who will deliver. God who will stretch out his mighty hand and the Red Sea will part. That is God beyond God Almighty. It is God Almighty and God who keeps his promises. God Yahweh. God who does not change. 400 years ago he said it would happen. Now it's happening. So now they will know more of God, so to speak. And therefore they will know him as Yahweh too, besides being El Shaddai. So the knowledge is not just knowing about the knowledge of this person, this God called Yahweh, but knowing him, knowing his character, knowing his love, knowing his care and concern for them. Okay? So, I am Yahweh, now you will know me fully. And verse 4. So God is saying, I have waited till now to show you and to show Pharaoh who I really am, what I really can do. So be patient. Verse 4. I established a covenant with their ancestors. I mentioned to you before, a covenant is a kind of agreement, but it is a one-sided agreement. A contract is two-sided. So I agree to exchange something with Kuntia. I give her $20 and she gives me her beautiful scarf. Okay, that's an exchange. It's an agreement. But a covenant is a one-sided agreement. It is the kind of agreement that I mentioned when several weeks back, right, when we started doing this. The history of China. China's emperor thinks he's the king of the world, right? He's in the middle of the world. That's why China is called China. 中国 is the country in the middle of the world. He's the center of the universe. And so he goes down to Malacca, or rather his admiral, Cheng Ho, goes down to Malacca and tells the Malacca king, if you obey my king, he will give you presents. My king is very rich. And the Malacca king says, yeah, I'm a small king. I don't want to fight this big king with his armies and navies. Look at the navy in the harbor of Malacca. Is no, I'm not gonna fight this guy. So when you, in today's world we might say surrender, but when you submit, when you give your obedience to the king of emperor, we will give you things you don't have. So in return, just for obedience, you get. And then the king of the emperor of China sent a princess for the, you know, the king of Malacca to marry, so that, you know, you're now my son-in-law. Yeah. So you're my family. So this is a one-sided agreement. Just obey me, and I will give you all these things that you never had before. And peace on top of that, right? I'm not going to conquer you because you have obeyed me. So God says to Abraham, give me your obedience and I will bless you, and those who curse you I will curse. Those who bless you I will bless. It's a covenant, and I will give you land. You don't deserve it. It's not because you deserve it. God says, out of all the world out of all the people in the world, I give you that verse right in Deuteronomy, I chose you, not because you're the most numerous. In fact, you are the fewest. But I chose you because, not because you deserve it, but because I love you and I want to. So here God says, I have already established a contract with your people. And you will see this happening now. Okay? So God is saying to Moses, be patient. I'm just working out my plan, and you are seeing it, but you think it's too slow for you. But be patient. Verse 5, he reminds Moses, I have heard your pain, and I have remembered my covenant. It's time for me to act. So, looking then at verses 6 to 8, he says, now, very concretely, very specifically, I will bring you out from under your yoke. I will free you. I will redeem you. I will take you as my own. That means I will adopt you as my sons and daughters. I will be your God. I will bring you to the land I promised. I will give you this land as a possession. There are so many promises here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you see verse 6 and verse 8. Something common there. What's common there? Verse 6 and verse 8.
I will bring you to the land that I swore, and I bring you out. So the verb to bring.
I will.
I don't do it.
To bring, I will. I am the Lord. It is I am the Lord. In the Hebrew you say more clearly. I am the Lord. I am Yahweh. He begins, I am Yahweh. I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. I am Yahweh. Now this is a Jewish literary device, we will call it a technique that a Jewish writer in Jewish culture they would do. In ancient literature there isn't any punctuation mark. So when you begin something and end something with the same words, you're saying these words in between are very important. I'm emphasizing it and underlining it. And the technical word for it is inclusio. It's an inclusio. Okay, to tell you this whole passage is very important to me, I'm underlining it, I'm putting it in bold, Times Roman 20 point font. Yeah, and bold. So it is God emphasizing, and he says actually more or less the same thing really, right? I will bring you out, as Samantha says, I will bring you out, I will free you, I will redeem you, I will take you out, and so on and so forth. He's saying the same thing many times, just in case you can't get it into your thick skull. So actually, yeah, it's also a Jewish, a Hebrew way of writing, emphasis. Repetition is emphasis. Remember, it first started as an oral culture. God is speaking, and the Bible is all oral and memorized and spoken from person to person. Teacher will teach, and then he memorizes it, and the student memorizes it. So it's an oral culture, and repetition is important. In a written culture, we can bold and underline, right? But in an oral culture, they have to use techniques like that. And so repeat and inclusios to tell you this is important. Get this right. I will take you out. I will free you. I will redeem you. I will take you as my own, and so on and so forth. No doubt. No, nothing to worry about. Okay, and it also, the inclusio also says now the list is complete. It's full stop. It's a long list. So God says, I care. See, I have a long list of things to do for you and to give you. So Moses is basically being humbled. You see, you complain. You don't even know half of what I'm doing for you. And you are complaining. And I think sometimes parents, we may have parents who will say, you know, you're complaining. I'm not giving you your car. You're now 16 years old and you can drive. Do you know half the things I've done for you? Don't even know. You don't even know the sacrifices I sacrificed for you. Okay? So God is really reminding Moses, don't be so narrow-minded. Don't be so small-minded. I have my plan. And my plan is happening now. Now, verse 9. I mean, reading it as human beings, we can understand the frustration and the disappointment and discouragement of Moses, right? He's the leader. God says, I chose you. Then he goes and does his thing, and they laugh at him, they mock him, they humiliate him, they make him look like a stupid fool. And it is real difficult. You know, we guys have got big egos. I don't know about Moses, but God actually had already reduced his ego to very small, right? For 40 years he's been a shepherd of stinky sheep. So I don't think his ego is very big by now. He's 40 years looking at the sheep, smelly sheep. But still he's got some ego, and his ego has been damaged big time. So here is a very discouraged man, despairing, and NIV doesn't really give the full picture when it says in verse 9, Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement. Discouragement is such an understatement. What they've gone through is more than just discouragement. They were promised delivery, and they get worse labor, and they get worse punishment, and nothing seems to be happening. It's getting worse. The Hebrew actually uses the word that's translated discouragement here. The Hebrew actually says something like short of breath. They were short of breath. They were when somebody is in that state of emotional upset, it's real sad. Yeah, very discouraged. They are so discouraged and so stressed, they are even short of breath. They cannot breathe. God, I'm so oppressed. That is the word used here. They are short of breath. So discouraged. They want to give up. And I think probably some of them might even have entertained suicide. Right? They are so discouraged. Rock bottom. They cannot breathe. I guess sometimes it may come to a point of, failure and discouragement and things going wrong in your life, and you say, God, I cannot take anymore. Please, no more. I remember one time in my Christian walk, many years after I had become a Christian, I was doing my PhD in London, and I was struggling so hard, and I was thinking, I'm not going to make it. God, why did you send me here to do a PhD when I'm not going to make it? I had the same feeling Moses had. Are you setting me up to fail and making me a laughing stock? Means making me a joke in front of all my colleagues and all my friends and all my family. And I said to God, actually, I said, God, there's a line here. Don't push me across this line, please. And God, in His mercy, of course, was just testing me and strengthening me by that test. He didn't push me over the line. So I can imagine Moses is saying to God, God, I'm going back to the desert, okay? I'm going to look after sheep. It's far more easier than looking after these idiotic Israelites. At least when I tell the sheep, poof, they move. So, yeah, have you ever been so discouraged? You have, huh? I have. And God says, I'm here. I'm present with you. I'm there before you. I'm there after you. And I'm now here with you. So don't be discouraged. Now, the answer, Moses says, I can't speak. And he says it twice, right? 12 and 13.